Yes. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Lion's Den. Yo, what's popping, Herm? What's up?
Man, first gotta give a shout out to my brother-in-law, Brandon Shelby. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. How old you turn?
See, you put me on the spot, man.
See?
I don't know.
Hey, close ain't
hey, man, he got a year older. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Nothing but watching some basketball games and whatnot, man. You know, everything is good over this way.
Yeah.
I spent all day today in the bed, man.
Why? What's wrong? You got the heebie-jeebies? What's the deal?
Last night, man, I turned up a little bit too much.
Did you?
Man, I ain't did that in so long.
What, you thought you was back in Korea? What's the problem?
Man, I was like, what am I doing? I woke up like, man, I'm not going to move today.
Right. Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Hey, so look, here's a little something that you probably don't know. First thing first, we haven't been on every platform for a little time now, right? It's a reason for that. The reason why we're doing this is because we want to get everybody in the mode of going to YouTube and looking us up on the Lions Pride Network. That's where you're going to start seeing all of our content. But you're seeing us now because we just want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to understand the intent of being on the show as a potential lion. All right. Now, we talked about this before, Herm. Now, what would you say some key attributes would be for individuals to be on? as a lion on the Lion's Den?
Man, first and foremost, consistency, you know what I'm saying, and relatability.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They don't always have to be somebody that the audience is necessarily or us will necessarily agree with, but they've got to be able to articulate themselves in a way that even if we feel like they might be wrong, it still makes sense.
That's right. That's right. That's it. Because I mean, look, you wrong like what, like 90, 95, 90.99 about all the time. You wrong. You see what I'm saying? But at least you make it sound right.
Come on now, man. Even you don't even believe that.
Of course I do. Of course I do. But anyway, y'all, listen. So we have received a lot of individuals that said they were interested, but only a few applications. All right. So if y'all are interested, make sure you let us know. All right. But outside of that, during the process, we're giving individuals the opportunity to be on as guests first, and not just for our situation awareness, but for yours. So this week, we got our first guest host, and it's up to y'all to let us know what y'all think about this individual. All right. Now, should I describe him or just let him describe himself or introduce himself?
Man, let's let him introduce himself. Man, well, first off, y'all may have seen him around, man. He's been dropping a lot of food on people now. Dropping a lot of knowledge through his food on folks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he is a person that really took to retirement like a fish in water, man, and found a real stride of what he wants to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's been making people happy. I mean, I still ain't got no food yet.
No, because you don't look you're not his target.
I'm not target audience.
You ain't the target
That's
audience.
what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
But let's let him come on and tell us about what the target audience is.
Let's get it. Yeah. Yo, Mr. Jabri in the building. What's up, man? How you
Good
feeling?
evening. Good evening. All is well, man. How you guys doing?
Hey, well, obviously hungry. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Hey, everybody got to eat, man. Everybody has to eat.
Everybody got to eat, man. So look, man, welcome on, man. Just tell everybody, the audience, a little bit about yourself before we get into the show.
Indeed, man. I appreciate the opportunity, fellas. My name is Jabri Perry. I am a 23 and a half year Air Force retiree. Thank you. I served, I enjoyed, I promise I did. I love my service. But at the same time, this retirement is something different, man. I love every bit of this. I am a father, I am a son, I am an entrepreneur. I started my catering business during during COVID, during the shutdown, and it was really something that was brought on to me by it was God led, man. And so from there, I just been moving in that direction. Many doors have opened up for me. I'm in the San Antonio area, and it's just been going from there, man. And like I said, I feel like I'm really in my lane and where I need to be. And it's nothing better than actually doing what you love, because they say when you do what you love, you're not really doing the job at all, right?
That's true.
And so, yes, you're not working at all. So no, I love every bit of this. It's just me and my daughter down here. We are doing her thing. She's in esthetician school, and man, like I said, I got two beautiful daughters, born and raised in Indianapolis, and so yeah, that's really all I have going on, man.
No, that ain't it. Because see, I guess you said it without saying it, but your target audience. So you want to go ahead and say?
I heard you guys talk about that. So this is what I thought about that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Women love spending money on food. All right. And guys are a little different. Guys, we eat, but we don't spend money like that on food.
Yeah,
and
dog.
So,
can you imagine calling another dude to your house to cook for you?
Like, yo, bro,
yes.
hey, yo,
hey, man, can you come on, man? I want some of them shrimp and grits I saw on your page, man.
Yeah, you man cooking for me?
I talked to a couple of my bros about that, man, and trust me, we're not putting together brunch dates like women are. Right. And so, yeah, I get a bunch of private chef requests, man, a bunch of catering requests. And again, women love celebrating different occasions, whether it's birthdays, whether it's life, you know what I mean? So no, I have no problem with my target audience being whatever it is. Because all I know is money is the same color. You know what I
There you
mean?
go. There you go.
Yeah. So no, I appreciate anybody who tries my food and whoever keeps coming back. That's what I'm gonna keep catering to.
Right on. Well, look, we appreciate that, man. And so, look, welcome, welcome, welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, here's the time. We're getting ready to pivot. All right. So, again, if you haven't done so already, make sure you go to YouTube. All right. Go to YouTube, go and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the Lions Pride Network. All right. So, on my platforms, we're getting ready to say goodbye. But if you're on the Lions Pride Network on YouTube, you'll see the rest of the show. Right on, right on. Go ahead, Big Herm. You can go ahead and introduce our guest, brother.
All right. So the guest that we have coming on is somebody that our audience should be familiar with. We've had him on the show before. When we had him on, he was venturing into his own business with CBDs. So we talked a little bit about what that was like to start up and how that went. My guy's a stand-up guy, Air Force veteran and everything. Also from my hometown of Clarksville, Tennessee. Won't y'all give a warm welcome to my man, Mac.
Mac. Yes, sir. What's up, Mac? How you feeling, brother?
What's up? What's up, brother? What's up? What's up, Skip? I appreciate that warm introduction. How y'all been?
Man, slow motion, brother, slow motion. So, man, just first of all, for those individuals that this is their first time knowing you, just tell us a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my name is Larturo McMahon. That's my government name, but I'm commonly known as Mac. Like Skip alluded to, I'm from Clarksville, Tennessee. I was actually born in Fayetteville, North Carolina, but my mother and I we moved here late '80s. She was in the army, and so Clarksville has kind of been my home, or one of my many homes. Air Force vet. You know, I don't say it as proudly as brother Jabril, but Air Force vet, and got out of the Air Force. Well, I joined the Air Force kind of late, 2006. Uh, did a couple bids and separated in 2019, and went into education, and education landed me into, being self-employed for a little bit. And yeah, man, here I am.
I heard that. It sounded like you said it. You did a couple of bids. That's how I felt like. It felt like sentences.
Yeah, yeah, it did for me. But I know everybody's career is different. So, but yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, go ahead, Jabri. We'll let you kick it off, bro.
Hey man, I know I briefly introduced myself, but from one fellow entrepreneur to another, um, I know when I came on the podcast before, I kind of talked about some of the vulnerabilities that I had when it came to running a business. Can you tell the folks a little bit about some of the fears that you had actually starting your business, and what actually made you go into want to being self-employed?
Yeah, man. You know, initially I was reluctant in starting it, just because it was something that was outside of my comfort zone. Not that I was ever the one to keep a steady job or anything like that, but I after being in the military for so long and working for someone else, like there was a sense of security, that was always there. And so stepping out on faith, really, and trusting that all the skills that I acquired just throughout my life, would help me at least get started. There was still a little bit of hesitancy because, you know, as you can attest, working for yourself versus working for someone else, it requires you to tap into a different level of grind, you know, um, discipline. You have to really, really be serious about it, because if you don't work, you don't get a check coming. It's not like someone is cutting your checks for you, especially being in the Air Force, where no matter how many days you work out the month, the first and the 15th was always,
Mhm.
coming. And so that was, I guess, some things that I thought about, but I didn't dwell on it too much. I was just like, well, hey, if and I think I said this on this platform 4 years ago that if it didn't work, I could always go back to work on Monday. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Indeed.
Hmm.
Indeed. So
Appreciate that.
so going into it, you was doing the Hempspire business for a few years.
Hmm.
Was there some bumps in the road that led you to the decision to ultimately be like, you know what, I'm cool with this? Or what ultimately led you to that decision?
Well, not to get too personal, but I wanted to walk closer with God and be more present with my children and my family. That's that's really what did it for me. Like I enjoyed, you know, uh, my business. I enjoyed having the space, where people can come in and out. Skip, you have been there a few
Hmm.
times, and it was just a constant flow of people in and out, and I was starting to just kind of sit back and just take inventory of the people that would come to my store. And now, so for those who don't know, which is probably not much, but my CBD lounge was really a place for people to come. I mean, we read books, we played chess, we had all deep type of conversations. It was more than just a retail spot. And so when I started really noticing people coming to my store, for growth, inner growth reasons and stuff like that, I started to really, I guess, gravitate towards, I don't want to say ministry, but just people
Right.
mostly. And then, I man, I was probably one of the most free giving um businessmen out there because I got into the CBD and hemp industry to help people. And so it was never really about the money. Although you go into business because you want to make bread. But for me, that wasn't my number one MO. The number one priority was to create a safe place for people to come and be themselves, to till the ground so it would be fertile for people to grow, and to get some, whatever holistic, medicine that they need. And that word holistic, it was the reoccurring theme, because if they couldn't get what they needed off the shelf, then they got it, in conversation with someone
Mhm.
who was in the store. People were always in and out the store, or did they would just come in and just kind of plant themselves. And so um yeah, man. But what really did it for me is, I took a pilgrimage to Jerusalem a couple years ago, and I was already thinking about
Mm.
um, pivoting my business anyway, just because my interest was starting to shift. Maybe I don't know, maybe I was evolving somewhat, but my interest was starting to shift. And man, I got this unction to go to Jerusalem pretty heavy back in like 2022. And when I went there and spent some time there and I came back, it was clear that that where I was at, as far as it being in that industry, wasn't really what God had planned for me. I think looking back in retrospect, I probably jumped into that race a little prematurely, as
Mm.
far as that industry.
Mhm.
And so when I came back from Jerusalem, for me, my whole life kind of shifted, my outlook, my perspective, and and then it just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of it just blossomed from there. And I thought about pivoting to just kind of getting away from that industry, because being in that industry, you don't just deal with hemp derived products. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So there was a lot of you know, uh, marijuana and other things like that. That was that I didn't want to necessarily be around as much.
So, you know what? Here, let me jump in there, man,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it was something that you said. You said a lot of good points, and what I want to focus on real quick is your level of giving. The reason why I say that, because I came to your shop, very beautiful space, right, man?
Yeah, yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah, yeah.
open and everything, to the point I still have the book almost done with it. that you gave me is called the
Mm,
Strong Father, Strong Daughters 10 Secrets Every Father Should Know. And
yeah,
when I saw it, I'm like, yo, I love that. You say, hey, take it. He said, that's yours. If you see
yeah,
it, you want it, that's yours. You get what I mean?
yeah,
And you know, you
yeah.
poured into me, and I see you pouring into, saw you pouring into a lot of individuals, and they felt comfortable. So, but my question is, knowing what you know now, if you wanted to go back into business, what
Mhm,
type of team would you build to make sure that the bottom line is still taken care of? Because you can have a interest to start a business, right?
mhm,
But you may not have the heart to it. What I mean by not having the heart to do it is sometimes not everybody is your audience. You get what I'm
right.
saying? Like how we was talking about earlier with Jabri. You have to know who your audience is and being able to keep people in your circle that's able to do what you're not able to do, or maybe don't have the stomach to do, to make sure that the bottom line is good. So in retrospect, could you look back and see, if you were to do this over again or to do a different business, what type of team would you build?
Man, that's a great question. Well, first, I'm glad that you still have that book. That's pretty
Yeah.
dope. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's real dope. But you know, it is very important to have a team. And if I were to go into business again, I think I would try to establish a team first before pulling the trigger. Um, when I was, building Hempspired, I was teaching math at one of our local high schools, and um, it never occurred to me that, you know, hey, let me build a team first, and then so that we all can kind of, have our inputs, put our chips in, and and cultivate something, hopefully that people would respond positively to. Um, but I didn't go that route, and I would say that. But when I got into business, I'd say maybe like 6 months, 6 or 8 months in, I another business owner, he had a restaurant across the street from me at the time, and these guys are Army vet and very smart man, very ambitious. But he told me something that really stuck with me. He said, surround yourself with people you know, who are better at business than you, in like the mechanical aspect of it, not necessarily like the vision, but the mechanics. So like your bookkeeping, your marketing, uh, product research, things of that nature. He said, because I want to. He was encouraging me to eventually step away, because I was Mr. Inspired, from sweeping the floors to researching product, to testing product, to social media marketing and all that stuff. And he was like, hey, eventually you're going to want to step away from that. So, so that you can then put the right pieces to still keep the ship going. And you can just go out and, be the bobblehead and network and everything. Cause man, I would leave my store in the middle of the day to go to a Rotary Club meeting, to go network with people, and then, go talk to the mayor, or go talk to this person or that person. And it's like, well, if I wasn't in my store, then I wasn't making money, So it was, yeah, man. I wore many many hats, and so it's very important, for anyone who's already in business or looking to start a business, is to, find people um, who are like-minded, for sure. Like-minded people that you can communicate with, whether it's easy conversations or difficult conversations, without people's emotions get too involved, to where the waters get muddy. Find people who are humble, find people who have integrity. I had a couple of employees, and I had experienced some things that, that was unpleasant, but it was a learning experience. Find people that you can trust, and then just find people who also share the same interests as you. Like, for me, my interests are people. So building another business, if that's ever in the cards for me, I would have to find other people who are interested in people, and not so fixated on the money, because money's going to come, what I'm saying, especially if you're pretty decent in what you do.
Right.
you know, and you just don't mind putting in the work, it's going to come. You know what I'm saying? But the intangible things, you know, those fine details that are woven, you know, in business plans and in visions, you know, it's imperative to try to establish that in the beginning. Um,
Got you.
I hope that answers your question. I
Oh
feel like
no,
I just
no.
said a whole bunch of words.
Yeah.
It did. It did. But Jabri, what you got, homie?
Yeah, that was great information, man. I think everybody can take heed to that. I'm taking a look at your shirt, man. It says biblically fit. And
Mm,
a question that I had, I know for myself, again, I started off the introduction by saying I was led. I know I was led by God to start this up. And I told God, I said, hey, and it's just how I talk to God. I said, look, I promise I'm gonna be consistent. I just need you to show me what you need to show me, and I'll go from there. I promise I don't have no problem moving in the direction that you need me to. I just want
okay.
to be consistent in what you want me to do. And it sounds like you're a faith-based man. What role did your faith play in everything that you did? Because again, for me, it was, hey, I know I'm not going to be able to do this without God. And then being in the CBD industry, there's a lot of, I'll just put it like this: there's a lot of
That
different
stick.
opinions, different stigmas that come with, hey, everything that comes with that, especially from what we've known in history about just really that type of industry and everything like that. And it's
Right.
changing, but at the same time, people, it's hard to break certain stigmas. So if you can elaborate a little bit on what your on how your faith plays a role and how it's really developed you into the person and the business that you had.
Man, that's a very good question. Yeah, so when I got into the CBD industry, you know, my intentions, you know, were to help shift the narrative or the help, you know, kind of um, debunk the negative connotations that came with, you know, hemp derived products and CBD and everything. And because, you know, like you said, people do, not all, but you know, some people do have their opinions on it as far as you know, it being a, you know, drug and all this stuff. And so I kept, well, I keep God in all the details of my life. I really do, you know, try to not only talk the talk, but also live it as well. And so um I prayed, I didn't pray that, or I didn't ask God if this was the right industry for me. I made that decision on myself. But I did, you know, ask him to protect me and my business, you know, to protect, you know, the people that I would come in contact with, to, you know, to use me as an instrument, you know, to represent him, um, you know, in a manner that is pleasing, you know, to him, and to, yeah, and that was really it. You know, as far as uh, I guess teeing off the business. And then throughout the business, you know, each day, you know, I would, you know, God would put me in certain instances to where, you know, it was really ministering to folks. And you know, and I wasn't in there, you know, Bible thumping anyone or anything like that, you know. But you know, as the scriptures say, we're supposed to be, you know, the salt of the earth and the light of the world. And so, you know, I just try to be that, you know, in all my approaches, and regardless if, you know, we worship the same God or not, you know, I you know, I never passed any judgment on anyone. I still don't, you know, and I never will. And but I know who, you know, I represent. You know, I know who who I'm a child of, and what He expects of me. And so I just, you know, try to live my life, you know, as closely to that as possible, and even encourage others to do so. You know, I've, again, man, since I've really taken my walk with God, as close as I have, man, my I remember praying. This was like a year out from closing my business, which I just closed, not this past January, but January of 23, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember praying and really meditating on, like, hey, you know, Lord, you know, I want my ambitions to be yours. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures say that, you know, if we delight ourselves in the Lord, then he'll give you the desires of your heart. And so I wanted my desires to be his desires, whatever that looked like, you know, however that affected my bank account, because I really want to walk in, like I said, and live in that faith and just do, you know, do his good will. And next thing you know, I was, you know, it like my sales, you know, they were volatile, of course, especially starting off. You know, I had some real good months, then I had some not so good months. But when I started really praying and meditating, you know, those words and a few other things, you know, it was, you know, my sales would start to plummet, and it didn't. I was still at peace. Like I wasn't bothered by it. I wasn't stressing myself over it. You know, it was just like, well, you know, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because man, you know, such and such came in and we had a good conversation, and you know, they may have something going on in their lives, but now they're trying to, get on a different path to, you know, to kind of help better their situations or their children and stuff like that. So for me, the rewards were, um, were different. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
felt like I felt like it was good treasure versus just, you know, the dollars and cents of things.
So,
So
so Matt, you mentioned that I remember you was talking about going to Jerusalem. I didn't know that you actually went.
yeah.
So you went. What did you discover about yourself on that trip that you didn't know before?
Mm.
Humbly speaking, I discovered that I play a larger role than in leading people to Christ than what I understood before. You know, like I grew up in church, like we probably all did, you know, and and at a very young age, you know, my mother, she, you know, like I remember at 3 and 4 years old, like, you know, learning to read scripture, and then like 5, 6, like learning how to, as you would call it, exegete scriptures, like, you know, try to understand. So I was really groomed, you know, to walk with God. But, you know, throughout my life, I resisted it sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, chasing girls, you know, trying to, you know, wear the latest Nikes, shooting ball, you know, all this other stuff. You know, I that would kind of not detach me, but you know, just kind of take my attention off of him and the path that he had for me. But when I went to Jerusalem, well, prior to going to Jerusalem again, I started noticing like the people who would come into my store, um, and the conversations that we were having. Like, bro, it was always something spiritual, like always something spiritual. And at the time, I had a pretty decent library of like self-help books. I'm sorry, it's Cuddles. Let me get her off. Go lay down.
Yeah.
Sorry, my
Well, hey,
bad.
you say Cuddles or is that Cujo? All right, come on now.
Yeah. But
Hey,
yeah,
Hearn
like
got a pit bull too, so we understand. But go ahead.
yeah, man. So I started taking inventory, you know, of the people that was coming in, and then the conversations that we were having, you know, because they were like, you know, a lot of self improvement, a lot of spiritual talk and things of that nature, and it wasn't anything that I was inviting, so to speak, but I just always found myself in the middle of. And then when I went to Jerusalem, man, which I didn't go like with a church group or, you know, I didn't take like a tour or nothing like that. Like I literally booked my flight. I packed just a few sets of clothing, my Bible, my chessboard, and I didn't have I didn't know where I was staying. I didn't know, I didn't plan, pre-plan any of those details. I just needed to get there and
Mm,
touch the soil. And yeah, man, for those nine or days, so, you know, 9 to 10 days or so, you know, God provided everything. Like I slept well. I ate every time that I, you know, was hungry. Thank
mhm.
you, love. Um, I even, you know, I slept on the seas of Galilee a couple nights. I slept in the desert. So yeah, it was really a time, you know, and I learned that, you know, God is real. I think a few people came back, and this is when I was still on social media, and you know, folks would I try to chronicle my trip a little bit,
Mhm.
and I had a few people, you know, DM me like, "Yo, man, you know, how was it? Da 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 da. Like, what did you take from it?" And I just remember flying back, you know, like with a confirmation, like, man, God is real, and the life hereafter, you know, is definitely real. And so,
Mm. Okay,
yeah,
look, that's interesting, man, and thank you for that. You know that. that thought process. It always strikes me as, I wouldn't say it's odd, but when individuals do things, right, that's life changing, or when their life is starting to change, or there's is starting to shift, they something happens, and things are activated, right? Like, for example, you went to Jerusalem. Okay. Same thing with Malcolm X, right? He left, he went, he went to Mecca, right? Some people go
Yeah.
to prison, they get their awakening. But the
Right.
thing is that I feel, and I could be wrong, y'all let me know what y'all think, but the you changing, or no, you going to a certain location and you quiet the noise, does
Hmm.
not change the conversations that were going on around you. Your awareness have changed. The
Hmm.
conversations was always there, which I truly do believe is just a change of the your ear, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
so now the question is, now we're talking about the life after the business. So are you still interested in going back into business, or take that back? Are you still interested in business? And if so, what would be your approach now, right? Is it that you want to start a church, right? Is it that you want to start a, some type of group, or some way that individuals can commune, like-minded individuals, like you said before? So what are your aspirations now in business, if any?
Well, I guess I'm if you want to codify it as business, I'm in the business of, leading people to Christ. I'm not a minister, a preacher, a minister. I don't proclaim any titles. I just try to do the best that I can to live the words that I speak. When I do get an opportunity to, either teach someone or just interact with someone, I I've been able to host studies here at my home. We're on our seventh consecutive week, which is, I give all praise to the good Lord above, because people are taking time out their day, and out of their lives to come and sit and listen to me, and engage with me for a couple hours. And so I'm very thankful of that. Just like when I had my shop, I was so thankful when anybody would walk in. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, at the time, there were a couple of different CBD stores, and but I'm the type of person, man. Like, if you're gracious enough to lend me your time, no matter how short or how long it is, man, I don't take that for granted. Like, I'm one of those people who really appreciate the present moment, whether it's with a stranger or with someone who I've known my entire life. And so, uh, going forward, I would like to plant my own ministry, if you will. Um, and again, not saying that I'm a pastor or anything like that, but I would like to, um, just properly utilize the talents that God has given me. And I love learning, and I love teaching. And so, um, teaching is something that I would like to get into on a more, I guess, biblical base or scripture base. So I don't know if I want to open up a church, but maybe like a biblical school or something like that. Where we can, I can show people how to, read scripture. Give them, you know, um, tools to help them develop a relationship, with God for themselves. Um, and help people grow. That's always been, that's like my life mantra. Like, I want to help people become the best versions of themselves and help them grow, within themselves, however that looks like.
Mhm.
I just, my foundation is faith based, but I can still help you grow, even if that's not yours. Hopefully, you'll get there on your own. But I'm not, it's not for me to press you, in that regard. It's just to be there to support you. I mean, I think, Skip, we don't talk all the time, but whenever we do, I'm always, at least trying to make myself available, to help and support and to, and to be a part of, whatever process he has going on or whatever endeavors he has going on. And so, yeah, man,
Right.
that's really it.
Oh, that's cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's mind blowing, man. I appreciate you sharing all that with us. Um, I, from what I understand about any type of business or just any great man, period, um, is family. And so I'm a huge proponent for family, and I know that they play a huge role in everything that you do. And there's a sacrifice that comes with having a business and
Yeah.
trying to maintain that balance of ensuring that your family's good. And I'm sure that they've been an integral part in running your
Hmm.
business and
Hmm.
everything like that. So if you could please dive into what role, and this is all also to highlight your family, because I'm sure at any given opportunity you love to make sure that they get their just due for everything
Hmm.
they've helped you as well. So if you could jump in and let us know how and what role your family played in everything that you have and what you're doing, that'd be awesome as well.
Yeah. So I'm a father of, well, four. We have a blended family, but I've fathered three children. I have a son and two daughters, and man, my youngest one, Ziggy, she's like my road dog. Like she was there with me, you know, delivering products. Before I had a store. She would help me organize, you know, um, products as they came in. You know, she would help me, count the register out at the end of the day, things of that nature. And so, yeah, having my children and other family as well, be there to support me and to kind of fill in those gaps, because again, I wore so many different hats, and so um, if I was if my attention was over here, but I needed something done over here, I could lean on them, occasionally to help fill in those gaps. And so, yeah, my children, man, I love them. I can't talk about them too much because I'll start to get emotional. But yeah, I love
I
them,
get
man.
that.
And man, they were there. Like they got to they got front row seats to see me, you know, make a lot of shifts and transitions in life. But as I was, pursuing owning my own business, man, they were, they watched me build my store. Like they watched me like literally build my store with hammer and nails and drills and all this other stuff, and then to see the finished product, and then to be in there and and to interact with customers every now and every so often, or just people who would come in. Um, and then but on the flip side of that, you know, um, it drew me away from them. I mean, thankfully they were very understanding, and they knew that, hey, I had to clock in a lot of hours. Like I would literally wake up, take Ziggy to school, because she was a car rider, go run to the post office, mail, products, go open up the store, do what I had to do, close the store down to go get her, do homework with her, spend some time with her, get her in bed, and in the about midway to the later years of my business, I would have someone to kind of keep the store open while I was putting on my father hat. But after I get her tucked in and get her ready for the next day, she go to sleep. I'd always kiss her and let her know, like, hey, I'm going back to the store so I can finish up, especially if it was like on the weekends or Thursday, Friday, where I would kind of stay open later. You know what I'm saying? And so, but after doing that for so much, although when you own your own business, you have a lot of time, right? But even sometimes it's not enough.
That's right.
And so, with all that running around, and although they were there, my time with them, was was still, it was still there, but it wasn't real quality time. Like it
Mhm.
was very transactional, or transitional. Like we were,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like I would get my time in like while I'm going to go, deliver products and stuff. So, we would catch up and do different things like that. And so, wanting to be more present with them, my oldest two, they're college age. Ziggy at the time was 10, turning 11. So she's starting to transition into her pre-teenage years. And I just really wanted to be present with all of them, but especially her, during that time in her life. So that, making my decision on stepping away, was inspired by wanting to be with them and it not being, again, so fast paced.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I was working at a pace of
Right.
customers and and stuff like that. Like it wasn't our pace or the pace that I felt they deserve.
Like you had to
At the
schedule them
time.
in, right?
Yeah. Hey, and
Yeah.
look, and I was going to ask this too, man. And Herm, and I want to give this to you, to everybody, because now I'm understanding we're all fathers of daughters. All right. Now we have, like I have a son and everything, but my daughter, man, it hit different. And so I want to say shout out to all the mothers, the wives, the ex-wives, baby mamas, and all that's out there. But just real quick, brothers, how can y'all say, if you can sum up how different a daughter having a daughter, man, cause you to think about life and what time truly looks like. You get what I'm saying? Like, and just speaking for me, man, until I had my daughter, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm still gonna thug it out because I got a son. He's another quote unquote version of me, but my daughter, still another version of me, but just different. So now I'm looking at priorities different. Like, ooh, wait, I really can't do that. I need to, you get what I mean? So Herm, let me start with you, man. How has being a father to daughters helped you kind of pivot as a man?
I think that, see, my story, I was separated. Well, I didn't live directly with my kids for about 7 years, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So even though I was a father for two girls, I only saw them like once a year.
Okay.
You know,
Mhm.
I took care of them monetarily, whatnot, but I only saw them once a year. So once, you know what I'm saying, after that 7 year span, now I got them all the time. You know what I mean? I noticed that I had to change, you know what I mean? But I'm changing later in my years, not at the very beginning. Because when my girls had me, I was always the fun person because I only got to see them for a little bit of out of the
Right.
time for 7 years. I'm not sitting there trying to discipline them or nothing. So it became when I retired and we were around each other all the time and they had to see a disciplinary side of me, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It was a learning curve for both me and them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I had to realize, like, look, I got to figure something out. You know what I mean? I'm glad that I'm the kind of person that needed the balance that my wife provided me
There you
to
go.
help me with these girls. You know what I mean? Because before I'm thinking Iron Fist is going to work with everything, but
Yeah.
these are my daughters, right?
Mhm.
They're not scared of nothing. They ain't worried about your Iron Fist. They're
Mhm.
not scared of nothing. You know what I mean? They are going to come back at you. So I
Excuse me.
think that what changed me is my approach, you know what I'm saying, how I had to have more of a soft touch, you know what I'm saying, when dealing with my daughters and being more understanding of the trials and tribulations of their life because they are their own humans, contrary to what people like to believe.
Right.
They are their own humans that's going to make their own mistakes, that's going to make their own calls. You could have the perfect parenting plan and it could still go off script on you.
Oh
You know
wait.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I learned.
What you think, Jabri?
So there's a certain level of accountability that women in general will make you be will hold you to, and I think daughters even more so. You're the first representative of a man to her, and
Yeah.
so in that way, you have to ensure that that you're able to show her um, things that she'll that she'll live for the rest of her life. And so for me, having two girls, my girls are 22 and 19 now. I was in a similar situation to Herm. I didn't live with my daughters for the majority of their lives, but I played a very key role. And I don't know if you even know. And when I was at Scott, I would go to they lived in Indianapolis. I would go to Indianapolis 2 times a month,
Mhm.
every other weekend just to go see them. And every holiday they were with me and everything like that. And then, full circle, coming here, my daughter came to live with me um, back in 2020, and she's been here
Right.
about 4 years now. And so what I've learned even more so, the father that I thought I was being when I would see them every so often, that wasn't nothing, man.
Man,
I told their mom, I said, hey, I'm a much better parent on FaceTime than I am in real life.
well, I'm trying to tell you, man,
You know what I
it's a
mean?
different
Because,
deal, man. I'm trying to tell you.
bro, when she used to tell me all the time, like, hey, this is not the same person that I get. You get a representative when she sees you. And so when she got down here, man, just going through the obstacles and the hurdles of emotions and just attitudes and just being a teenager, I
Right.
wasn't ready for him. I thought, my baby was coming down here. We was gonna have a great time. And so what I had to learn was I really had to humble myself, man, and make sure that I learned how she communicated. And I had my certain way that I wanted to parent. I'm like, yo, when she get down here, I'm gonna do this, this, and this. But I had to throw all that out the window and try to learn everything from scratch, man. And so we have a great relationship now. And what we may consider stooping down to their level is not really that, man. What we're actually doing is we're reteaching ourselves.
That's
We're
right.
reteaching ourselves how to communicate, how to properly adapt to situations. And man, when I say she's taught me so much, yeah, she's been everything for me, and especially during this time, man, of this transition. I couldn't have did this without her, man. So
Mhm.
no, that's really what I've learned from my girls.
No, I appreciate that. And like I learned from my daughter, man, after she told me, she said, Daddy, why do you talk like you're reading a dictionary? I'm like, wow. I was like, okay, so that's what she hears. So I need to talk to her so she can hear me. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Have a conversation. But she said it's not bad. I just wanted to know why if you do it on purpose. I'm like, baby, I don't even know why I'm doing it. So, but I just wanted to take that just real quick, man, just to celebrate our daughters and how they shift that. But go ahead, Big Herm, man, to your next point, brother.
Hey, so you briefly mentioned that you got off social media. Let's get into that just a little bit. Like, what caused you to do that? Was that also a connection thing? Did you feel like you was social? Because I don't really remember you being like very social media heavy to begin with, right? You know what I mean? You was a guy that popped in and out. I didn't see no announcement on Facebook that you was about to delete it or anything like that. You just kind of fade to black. Can you talk a little bit about your decision to do that? And do you feel like that limits the way you could connect and bring people to Christ or whatnot, or do you feel like it's something that you still need to do?
Well, well, first let me say this real quick. Man, shout out to you brothers for being girl dads because like you guys said, it's not easy. Um, but it's something that if you put in the time and you grow with your children, I tell my children all the time, like I'm growing with you. Like just like it's your first time turning 13 or 20 or whatever, it's my first time turning 40 or what I'm saying, whatever. And so we all are, are in this thing together. And so but I love to hear, men and especially those who serve who have been in situations where they've had to be, they've had to been separated from the children for any amount of time. It's tough. And I think uh, Jabril, did you say that you were better at parenting, or you found your niche at parenting through FaceTime, and then it was a wake up call, when you got. I know I'm paraphrasing and probably butchering
No,
it,
no
but
doubt.
yeah, man, I experienced the same thing, and it is different, bro. When you're live and in color versus on FaceTime, it's a completely different world. But I just want to say, man, it's always refreshing to hear and to be amongst brothers who, you know, take their fatherhood seriously, and who genuinely want to be and are present with their children. So I just wanted just to put that out there. Now, Skip, as far as your question about social media, bro, um, like I said, I never really was a too active on social media. Like I would, share different things here and there. Even before, I was trying to, tighten up my fellowship with the Lord. Um, but I would also take periods of time where I would just kind of detox myself. Like, you know, I don't want to. I never wanted to be one of those people, and I was becoming one of these people, especially during my inspired phase or chapter where, I would, the first thing I do when I'd wake up is grab my phone, right? Because I'm checking notifications, I'm checking, DMs or whatever the case may be, and then the last thing I would see before I would go to bed would be my phone because of, social media and stuff. And so it was just taking a lot of my time, like, like even it would absorb so much of my time to where it would be hard for me to be present with people who are right there, with me. And so when I started, noticing that, and I was like, man, I'm always grabbing my phone. I'm always looking at my phone. You know, I just kind of had to examine myself and say, okay, you know, take a step back. Kind of detox yourself. Reorient yourself with who's in front of you, and what's in front of you. Um, I would try to do that, periodically, and then and this is maybe just me, but I wasn't man, I just got tired of the same toxic stuff that I would scroll and see, I don't know, it just became so repetitive, like everyone, oh, I see that killer. Yeah, it just became so repetitive, everyone's chasing a bag, or everyone's, you know, uh, uh, shaking their behind, or folks is, everyone's a thug, or everyone's all this and all that, and it to me, that's I'm removed from that. I never was even in that, to be honest with you, but as I'm growing and as I'm trying to evolve, and or as I'm evolving, I it just became less and less attractive, and then I was noticing that, man, half the people that I really stay connected with on social media, well, we have our personal numbers. So I could just reach out, or vice versa. So 90% of my followers, and I didn't have that many, but I had enough, but 90% of them were just people out there in the matrix, you know. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, well, what am I really holding on to? Like, how's this, how's this benefiting me? And when I started asking those type of questions, and kind of looking at myself and the time that I spent, and what I could be doing, in place of, it was just that much easier. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, there's a lot going out in the world. You know what I'm saying? And I just would rather not be a part of it, if I can, or at least create some healthy distance, to where, I'm not, again, always grabbing my phone, or being in someone's business, or whatever, because it's yeah, it was just icky to me, and I was just like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good. And so I've been
Yeah.
off social media for a little while, I think it's rounding over a year or so.
Mhm.
And man, it's freeing. Like,
So,
and I like, when I go and I watch some lectures and stuff on YouTube, and they have the shorts, and so I get my social media fix on that, in a sense. Um, but even then, like, I have to, like, after I scroll through and I hit like 5 or 6 consecutive shorts, like, I'll be like, okay, that's enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me
you,
let me get off this thing a little bit, because it would draw you in, and if you understand how algorithms
yeah,
work, and all that stuff, it's
yeah,
gonna feed you, what it wants you to know, or what you are really wanting. And I'm just like, yeah,
yeah,
I'm
man.
I'm cool.
It's a
Yeah.
good thing that you're not on it right now, because after what K Dot did to your favorite rapper, you know what I'm saying?
Stop the nonsense.
Yeah, you might really, you might need another mental health break after that one, man, because it ain't looking good out there in social media world for J. Cole at this
For
moment.
Cole, man. Hey, yo, he was him and Drake. They came through Nashville
Yeah,
couple months ago. I didn't go, of
my
course,
daughter
but
went to that. Yeah,
did she?
my
That's dope.
oldest, she went.
That's what's up.
Hey,
He ain't pay off her house, but she went.
see,
Mm.
yo, hey, but go ahead, man. Hey, close this up, Big Herm.
Hey, Mac, man, I appreciate you coming in and showing us a little bit behind the scenes of what happened with him Spire. You know what I mean? Because we was there at the beginning. You know what I mean? And when you closed it up, it all makes sense, right? You know, as we go through life, different ebbs and flows. What we thought we were meant to do wasn't really what we're meant to do. Like you said, your business was really people. You know what I mean? And how to find ways to get people to a greater cause. You know what I'm saying? So Hempspire was just a vessel in a sense to, you know what I'm saying, really open your eyes to how this could be possible. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
It was just a tool. It was just a tool, you know, to open the doors of what you really wanted your future to look like. Well, what God is calling your future to look like.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you coming on, talking to us about that type stuff. And for folks that's in the business now, listening that, hey, maybe what you're in right now might not be your true calling after all. It might be what's coming up next.
Yeah. And well, firstly, man, thank you for having me on this second time.
Hold on, man. We're closing it out. We're gonna get you last.
Oh, my bad.
Jabri next. Yeah, go ahead, Jabri.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jabri.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you opening up and you letting us in into your journey, man. And it sounds like it's been a beautiful thing for you. And I truly am inspired by just being able to be edified by anybody that has been down that path and that continues to go down that path. So I wish you well in everything that you do, man. And it was an awesome opportunity to get a chance to get to know you and to meet you. Actually, it's our first time actually interacting, and like I said, I'm a better man for it, man. So thank you.
Praise God, bro.
All right, go ahead, get your point in, Matt.
Okay, my bad. I didn't mean to break protocol, brothers, but no, thank you. You know, big bro Seth, Skip, you already know the vibes. Debris is, you know, I appreciate you you know, listening, and you know, hopefully something I said made sense, or you know, or at least provided a perspective. Yeah, you know, Hempspired, it definitely was a stepping stone. You know, it was I guess if I can look back on it as a case study, you know, because I acquired tools, you know, I acquired, you know, the fortitude and a few other things to hopefully, you know, use and max out on whatever it is that, you know, God has for me, whether it's another business venture, or you know, a lane of ministry, or just in life, you know. And so I'm appreciative of the opportunity, because it more so because of the people that I got to connect with and grow with. And it wasn't just me doing all the planning and watering. Like, you know, people definitely poured into me. You know, you brothers being a part of that. You know, yeah, I'm just so thankful. And again, I'm so humble to even, you know, have um, a moment to share, you know, and be around good brothers and be in good conversation. And I sincerely pray that, you know, God continues to keep, you know, all of you guys, you know, in your respective lanes, all of your household, you know, all of your, you know, ambitions and goals. And man, if there's anything I can do, and I'm not just saying this, you know, if there's anything that I can do to help, you know, or support or whatever, you know, please don't hesitate to reach out. You know?
Right on. Thank you, Homer. Thank you. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, that's what we do. So welcome. Well, thank you for being here. I was going to welcome you again, right? But this is the this concludes the Lion's Den with Seth, and hopefully y'all got something from this. What's going on, ma'am? So definitely love the conversation. Take away. Separate interest from calling. Absolutely. And thank y'all for tuning in. Knowledge, Seeking Knowledge podcast, and everybody else. If you haven't subscribed right now, what are you doing? And if you know anybody that's interested in being a part of the Lion's Den, you let us know. But tonight we had Mr. Jabri on, and what we want y'all to do, y'all let us know what y'all think about this brother and how everything else went on. But until then, we will see y'all soon on the flip flop. Right on. Later.